The whistle. You got to have a whistleblower, don't you think, Stephen?
Yeah, I think that the question's a good one, though, and that's why I'm saying I'm calling all veterans. You know, George, I have a special place in my heart for veterans.
I know you do.
Obviously, the thing is I try and help them physically. No veteran will ever buy my book because I give it to them saying thank you for your service to the country. But here's one thing. As veterans, they can bind together and they can demand, literally, not only the retraction, not only a half-ass apology, but they can demand the replacement. Now, I don't believe Janet Napolitano came up with that on her own, because that came technically out of the FBI Fusion Hive, and it was, I think, a 231-page report. When Alex broke the Mayock report, there was so much feedback and furor over it that the governor basically saw his political posterior in hot water and did something about it. The thing is that these people push and push and push and see what the tolerance level is. And good night, ladies and gentlemen, listening to this broadcast tonight. You know, if the congressmen and senators get 100 letters, it's no big deal. 1,000, no big deal. 10,000, maybe it's a deal. But by the time the fury of the veterans, and I can say this, George, that nothing broke my heart and made me angrier at the same time, nothing, than when she put the fingers, because I was on your show 5 years ago talking about all the Vietnam vets that were dying, and I said they were not dying of suicide, they were being suicided.
And by the way, think of the arrogance of the state police. Two separate officers send me the Mayock report, basically a state version of the other federal report that I believe we broke as well. Other big media got it, and the media says they broke it, but
you broke it first, Alex.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not just the Mayock, the new one that came out just a few weeks ago, the actual federal report. If you read that report, it was issued in 2007 and then expanded April 7th and released with all the stuff about veterans and the gun owners buying guns being terrorists and, you know, buying ammo. It says they are the #1 terror threat. I mean, this is absolute high treason. Napolitano came out and gave a press conference a week into the scandal and said, look, we had, this is in mainstream news, you can read it, she said, we had a debate about releasing that, and I said, go ahead and release it. So even though they already knew that the state version that came out in Virginia and Missouri of what we got, even Ron Paul bumper stickers, Bob Barr, libertarians, you know, you're all basically terrorists, people that don't like the Federal Reserve that's private, people that want to end the Fed. Imagine, even though all of that was out and the heat was out, she just goes ahead and says, put this sucker out. And so remember that, police and military and all the rest of you out there, you're serving a system that after you're done violating the Bill of Rights and Constitution to carry out their program, they know, just like with Hitler, Stalin, Mao, Pol Pot, Fidel Castro, when they're done with their hot revolution, when they've used you to cull the people and to carry out their program of tyranny, the first people they're coming after in their Night of the Long Knives, right after Hitler got elected, he didn't go after the Jews at first. He didn't go after the gypsies first. He went after his own enforcers, the SA first. Police and military, Google Night of the Long Knives.
Bonners Ferry, Idaho. Carrie, it's your turn. Hi.
I am a victim of the Vietnam War, even though I wasn't a service member. I was 15 years old. It was Christmas Eve, and a lady I babysat for had hepatitis. I was taken to the doctor and, trusting the doctor, given a shot of gabapentin. It was supposed to prevent me from getting sick. I never turned yellow. However, since then, I've never been well. I have flu-like symptoms almost every single day of my life. 1967 was 40-plus years ago, and now they tell me that I have a real rare genotype for being in the USA. And somebody paid for me to fly from Idaho to Florida so that they could harvest my virus. They paid me my airfare. They put me up in a motel.
And you don't know who did it?
I don't know. It was done through a brokerage firm called BioCollections.
Yeah, don't think for a minute that they didn't know back on March 18th when they admit they found this exactly what it was, and they've left our borders wide open.
Well, this particular thing, this hepatitis C, it only can be spread by getting blood donations or people on the street that are using IV drugs. And so, you know, I don't fit that category, but I did receive this virus. And a doctor, a learned doctor, told me that, well, it's right there in your medical records, right there, because in April, 4 months later, I was scooped up off the hallway at school because of the right upper quadrant pain. They ordered gallbladder tests because the liver was so inflamed. But yet I never turned yellow, and they didn't have a test for this until 93.
Amazing you're still alive. It truly is. Next up, let's go to Toronto, Canada. Terry on the international line. Hi, Terry.
Morning, George.
Morning.
Sorry, but with this Mexican flu situation, I've never heard such bunk in my entire life. Now, my understanding about influenza is that traditionally in the world, it moves west to east. The vaccines that we get before the flu season are based on the best guess they have on what type of strain is going to be hitting North America.
It moves east to west.
Okay. Either way, we have an idea of which version of it is coming. Now,
hold on, Alex. Let him talk.
Well, okay. So now, if the doctors, the medical community, really thought that this was a major deal in the works, they would be approaching it the same way that they approached it with SARS. With SARS, the medical associations, particularly in the northern states and in Canada, got together, and they had contingency plans to turn places like ice rinks, hockey rinks, into temporary morgues.
Right, and it fizzled
That's
out.
now been implemented right now. The Homeland Security did that Sunday. They've implemented the program if they need to carry that out, and they're telling people to get out of Mexico. I mean, and Europe. I mean, they're on full alert.
Well, let's get this though, Terry. Are you saying that this is serious or not?
I'm saying it's not on a par with the kind of threat that was perceived by SARS. It's getting way overblown.
Well, I would say everybody would agree with you on that.
Absolutely.
Way overblown, primarily because they have been aware of its possibilities if they concocted it. But I agree with you. You know, I said on this program that SARS would not be a pandemic, that the avian flu would not be a pandemic, qualifying it every time by saying unless they concoct it in a laboratory.
Yeah, George, I want to agree with you. I'm on record. On my Alex Jones channel on YouTube, there's a video up there I did 3 years ago saying the bird flu is hype, but it's hype to train everybody to be fearful and to go under this martial law control grid when they pull the trigger. So I actually want to agree with the caller that if what the media and the governments are saying is true, this is no big deal. But why are they saying it's no big deal while engaging in the biggest mobilization we've seen in decades, much bigger than SARS? So my point is we don't know at this point.
Stay with us for final phone calls on Coast to Coast AM. On our next Coast to Coast program, The Witch, Evelyn Paglini joins us. When we come back, we've got more final calls with Stephen Quayle and Alex Jones. This email in from Lucia in a small Mexican town called Tampico. She says, I live near this small city by the sea in the Gulf of Mexico. Here, some people are wearing the masks and some can't because they're all gone from the countertops. My older brother is a doctor. Tonight, George came back with news from the hospital. We have 2 dead people from the flu, first ones in our city. A little girl from my nephew's school is also hospitalized with swine flu. It all happened today. Closing schools was the best decision so far. I also heard my brother saying the sickness is more aggressive than said by the media. The swine flu is very contagious, seems to travel by air. You basically need someone sick around. As soon as you're close to this person, you get the swine flu. They get sick very fast. It also means more aggressive than the media is saying. Probably they don't want to cause paranoia among people. This is very worrisome to us indeed. Your guests are making a strong point about the sickness and how strange the timing is with it. The world economic crisis, the cartels, the immigration problems. This is Lucia in Mexico. Stephen Quayle, interesting email from Lucia in Mexico, huh?
Yeah, that would tend to underscore what I'm being told to. Listen, in 2004, George, this is one of the most compelling